just like,
Are you
already
also
said
the
it.
person that says Barnes and Nobles?
Sometimes.
Do you say Barnes and Nobles?
Sometimes, yeah.
That's fucking infuriating, man.
You know what, like, really bothers me? When people say without you and they say without you. And that really bothers me.
You know what bothers me is when people put T in the word else.
What are you talking about?
Else.
Yeah, Sinead did that last
Else?
week. I called her on it.
What about Monday and Tuesday?
Sullivan Grundy.
Oh, born on a Monday.
Born on a Monday.
Sullivan Grundy.
We're recording, by the way.
Oh, shit.
Happened
Hey,
for a
guys.
while.
Welcome once again to the Save Continue podcast. My name is Ryan Robinson. With me, as always, Tom Shelby,
Good evening.
Shanae Howie.
It's terrain, not train. Just put that out there.
Okay. Every week, we like to do things that involve talking about video games. Tom, I think you should get us started off this week.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So the first segment that we do now is called Can I Finish? In which I ask a trivia question, and whoever gets it right gets the ability to cast Can I Finish?
It's a very potent spell.
And if nobody gets it right,
Then I gain that ability. You also gain the advantage of being able to push something at the end of the show.
Sure.
Whatever it may be, games related or not. So this week, can you guys tell me who this man?
pictures.
I tried to pick a picture of him, which is how he's normally depicted. He's almost always wearing a hat like that. That's him.
See, Tom, I feel like you actually see these people.
If I showed you guys Kojima, you would both know who he was.
No, I'm saying is like, I hear the names a lot, and I don't often see the faces.
Sure. You couldn't point out Dan Houser.
Now I probably could because I recently looked him up for some reason.
Okay.
I could point out. I could probably point out Suda51.
Sure.
I got Sid Meier's.
We'll step away next week
Will Wright.
from developers.
I could point out Will Wright. I know that guy. Remember him?
Can I finish? No, I'm just kidding. I'm just playing.
I got Al Lowe and Sid Meier's.
You know,
Tim Schafer. You guys would recognize Tim
I
Schafer.
would recognize Tim Schafer. Yes.
Yeah.
You guys would recognize Peter Molyneux.
I would.
Anyways.
I know him as Mr. Molyneux, though.
So it's
The nukes.
my week again. I'm starting to like this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was hoping that I would win this week because I had something I really wanted to talk to you about. But hopefully next week will be my time. Hopefully.
I got a good feeling about next week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd like to come up with some trivia.
You totally can.
I like to do that.
Yeah, you can ask the next one.
I'll ask the next one.
Okay.
Okay. Hopefully then I'll get the Can I Finish? But
We're drinking whiskey tonight. Sorry.
yeah, it's me and Tom. Well, I don't want to speak for Tom, but it's my favorite whiskey, Jameson.
I'd say it's my favorite as well.
It's a nice smooth whiskey.
I went to
I like,
their I went to their whiskey school.
Is that where in Dublin?
Yes.
Is
I have a
that
certificate.
like? Did you graduate?
I mean, technically, yeah.
Like you're an honorary whiskeyman?
It was basically just a
Jameson
tasting.
man.
Okay.
But yeah.
I like if anybody cares, I like Bullet and Woodford Reserve.
If anybody cares.
Sure. Those are good.
Yeah. Shanae, you when you weren't here last night, Tom and I had a discussion that I would actually like to continue tonight because it's something that I feel that it's kind of talked about fairly often, but I kind of just like where the conversation went, so I wanted to get your take. So, Valve, you're familiar, yes?
Yes.
Uh, have you played a lot of Valve games in your time?
I think I've played a good share of them.
Okay. What would you say is your favorite Valve game?
Um,
Or at least the one that you enjoyed the most, I should say.
I probably the one I look at the most fondest is Portal.
Okay. The first one?
Portal 2.
Okay.
Kim Swift from last week, remember? We're learning.
We're learning.
We're learning. Thank you.
You didn't remember.
I like that. Thank you. Yeah. I don't know. I just have a lot of really good memories playing with different roommates at that time of my life. And yeah, like besides World War
Good co-op on that for sure.
Yeah, and it was just it's just one of those games that was just kind of like hit the right point with the right people in my life that we all got into it. It was nice.
Yeah.
It
Fantastic series.
I hadn't felt that like connected to like on the couch co-op, I guess, since
River City Ransom.
Resident
I was
Evil.
I mean, it's not really couch co-op, but I guess like I haven't felt that sense of like playing with multiple people like
Sure.
that in the same room. I mean, we played WoW and we played Borderlands, but it wasn't the same as like kind of getting towards a goal as like I remember how like the Halo LAN parties were, and there was like obviously like people who are better than others, and they're in the same room, and there was people like coaching others, like, hey, if you do this, this will turn out like this. If you press X and then do that, and that kind of hadn't like really had that since that time.
Portal always has like that tagline, like now you're thinking in portals, and like there is something to that when especially when you're playing co-op in that game, because like if you're playing co-op with Borderlands, like there's no thinking to it, you're just driving, right? Whereas with Portal, especially with 4 different colored portals, you guys both there has to be some communication there and some back and forth, and yeah.
I never got to actually play Portal 2 as a co-op thing.
Played the whole thing with Raph.
Yeah?
Yeah.
For those of you who don't know, Raph is Tom's brother-in-law. He doesn't play as girls in video games. It's weird. So, Tom, what would you say is your favorite? I'm thinking it's probably Portal or Team Fortress 2.
It's so hard to say, man. I really love Portal, and I probably go back to it more than the others. But overall, I put so much time into Team Fortress 2 and Left 4 Dead.
Right.
Yeah.
I put so many hours into those games that it's hard to not put them above. I don't know.
Yeah. I'd have to say, like, there was a time when I was pretty sure I could say without a shadow of a doubt that it was Half-Life 2.
I mean, yeah, you said Half-Life 2. You used to say that was your favorite game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Left 4 Dead, like those were some experiences that even at the time were like unlike any other.
It was the first game I could recall with what they were calling an AI director.
Sure. And of course it felt like novel and unique at the time because it kind of was. And Left 4 Dead 2 was something that I was super stoked about. And I put like a lot of hours into that. Just great games. Now, I feel that, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel that Valve is unique in that they are a developer that has also pivoted into a wholesale retailer.
Yeah,
on the massive scale.
There are other companies that have done so, but have not been as successful, right? We've got Origin from EA, we've got BattleNet from Blizzard.
Right.
But as far as, to the degree and success of Valve, there's really nothing like Steam.
Sure. One of the things that I feel that there was that long running joke with Valve, right? Like they can't count to 3.
Right.
And there was also like a lot of people have said Valve just doesn't make games anymore, which
We're getting that card game.
Yeah, and we found, like, during our discussion last night, that they've actually been releasing a game every few years.
Pretty consistently, yeah.
Yeah. And I wonder why that is. Why do we have that perception?
Because people love these franchises and want more.
Yeah. Yeah. Sinead, have you ever been interested at all in Dota?
Dota, I've tried it. It was one of the things I also tried when I was trying like a lot of well, I was kind of getting out of MMORPGs.
Sure.
And what else was I? I tried playing Han and League of Legends around the same time I was trying to play Dota.
Okay.
And Dota 2. I was trying all of them really, like, kind of like later and just around that.
Sure.
So I never really got none of them really stuck. I just kept coming back to World of Warcraft.
Yeah.
Anytime I tried playing any of that.
Like anything like fantasy
Yeah.
related. Yeah.
Either World of Warcraft or JRPGs on a console.
Yeah. So I'm pretty sure, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that the first Dota just started off as a Warcraft 3 mod, and then Valve kind of just like
Yeah, we were talking about that. The fact that a lot of their major franchises started as mods.
like Team Fortress and
Portal.
Yeah, Portal.
Well, Portal wasn't a mod; it was a student project that they iterated on.
Sure.
But yeah, Counter Strike.
Counter Strike. Well, that was a
It was a Half-Life mod.
Half-Life mod, like Team Fortress,
Mhm.
right? Yeah, and it was funny because we were talking about how, like I said a moment ago, how Valve has some reputation which when you look at the numbers is unearned, that they just don't release games anymore and all they do is sell games. And I was
But realistically, it's every 4 or so years.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes more frequently than that.
Yeah. So Dota 2 was released back in 2013, which, if you think about it, isn't that long ago. But they've had that.
Now we're getting Dota the Gathering.
Yeah, getting Dota the Gathering.
Right.
And I think that a lot of the time, and I guess it's just me because I said last night that when I think of Valve games, I automatically think first person games. I didn't think Dota, which is actually pretty weird when you think about it.
I mean, even in the news, we talked about how PUBG just beat like Dota 2 in like concurrent players.
Yeah.
Which is like a really big deal. That
Yeah.
is to make news, like having this be a standard. When you compare like, and it's weird because when you compare like Dota 2 to other MOBAs, you don't really hear people talking about the developers terribly much of like League of Legends and On.
Right.
I mean, Heroes. you know.
Heroes, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and like I think that like Dota seems to be like it's a huge revenue stream for them.
Sure.
And like why not? Like why wouldn't they like capitalize on the success of that game by making another thing based on that game? And also people like card games. Like you have cards in pretty much everything, right? But the criticism is still there that they don't iterate on their popular like the other popular franchises. Like they're not we're not getting a new Team Fortress, we're not getting a new Left 4 Dead or anything like that, as far as I know anyway. But then, then we think about like there's two sides to that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like on one hand, you have this huge company who has all these well-known franchises, all these respected series, but they kind of just a big part of the revenue stream at this point is selling other people's games. And I thought of what I would do if I were running that company. But Shanae, if you were in Gabe Newell's position, like let's say Gabe Newell retired right now, and they were like, Shanae, we want you to run Valve. What would be your first order of business?
I mean, are we talking realistically here?
like let's just I mean it's not a realistic scenario because that's never going to happen, but
I mean, realistically, what I would do in this scenario,
Yeah.
or like I guess
Like, realistically.
or I guess like just like throwing out that the first things that obviously pops in my mind is just looking. I don't know this information. I could probably find it, like at least majority of it. But I would first like research kind of like where sales were as far as putting out these games and how they affected Steam.
Sure.
How much of the revenue percentage wise are we getting from like even like Dota 2 and people buying stuff for that? How much we're getting from that? I mean, there are also like different kind of like parts of the company too.
Yeah.
As far as that goes, I think that they have the opposite problem of franchise fatigue. I don't know what it would be.
Yeah.
Franchise anticipation.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I just don't feel like I feel like I would probably want, for me as like a person who is a gamer, I would definitely want to cultivate more of a developer side in the company since I have like the access to, and really look at what exactly has made our past game successful, what really direction like they were thinking of there, and really just kind of move forward with that thought process of how I can make what has been set before me greater.
Right.
And what would make Valve or Steam greater.
Okay.
And like
So you look to further grow the company.
I would look at what niches in the market are not being filled right now. What things can we like honestly capitalize on? I guess I'd be probably a little more aggressive than what Valve seems right now, because they, even with like things that people are unhappy about, such as like with Steam and the rating system and stuff like that,
Sure.
they try like small steps kind of stuff and not like necessarily push things in a big way.
Yeah.
Just to see what kind of works or what not. And I guess I'd be more aggressive with that, just because I would have the thought process of somebody who is a gamer and not necessarily the thought process of somebody who owns a gaming company.
Okay. Now, so you're basically like, would you be looking to cultivate new IP, or
I would want to cultivate definitely more of teams of developers to. I guess like those niche, the more of like niche markets. I think like that is something that has really been showing to be more popular, I guess.
Right.
Right now, in a lot of aspects of what people are wanting is things that are not being filled right now. Because I just don't feel like anything right. I don't know. It's kind of hard to like. I don't really have my thoughts together on this one.
Right.
On that at all.
Okay.
I want. We have access to like our own platform, and I'd want to use that as like a jumping board for new IP and more developers who have a lot of interesting ideas that I already enjoy. I guess like making more of a program for people who are wanting to put their new IPs on Valve that I and like other developers within the company like kind of assess and be like, oh, like this seems like a really good idea. All they need is like more of the money sort of situation.
So you'd be basically you'd get into more. You'd look to do more publishing stuff.
Yeah, and then helping and maybe bring those people onto the team.
Okay.
Maybe like have them kind of like a lot of people in like retail stores will want to get into corporate. Kind of have that more of a lateral move. You can move into Valve.
Okay. Okay.
I think that would. I mean, there's just a lot of talent out there that just wishes they had the funds and the capacity and the environment where they could make more of what they want, and that a lot of people would really enjoy and connect with.
Right.
And sometimes it's just hard to find that necessarily.
Sure.
And of course, there's gonna be people who don't want to like sell out and don't want to have like a company like Valve have
they'll
input.
sell out.
Yeah.
But there's plenty of people that will.
You
and
got that
I would,
Valve
I guess I want to cultivate I guess if I was part of Valve and I was wanting to do more of like publishing to bring people into the fold, I'd also want to make it not something they're selling out, like, and also just like I guess harvest, like just kind of cultivate an environment people feel comfortable moving into the company and that their voices are going to be heard.
Okay. That's very cool. What about you, Tom? Like, you have the keys. You have the keys to the.
You and I discussed this last night.
Yeah.
Shady business practices. Okay.
Okay.
You got that Valve money.
Right.
I would be ruthless about it. I
Sure.
would poach so hard. There are a couple of major things that I think need to change about Valve and Steam. One, I wouldn't make sequels to all of these franchises, but there's a lot of them that I would, right? I would poach guys from Tripwire to make Left 4 Dead 3.
Right.
I would poach guys from Irrational to make the next Half-Life game.
Right.
You know, I'd poach Jonathan Blow to make a new Portal game.
Right.
Because those games are going to sell.
Sure.
You know, and that's more money coming in. It's what people want.
Yeah.
And you and I talked about it. There are Valve games that, like, you can see, you know, from an artistic standpoint, why they might not want to continue it. But games like Team Fortress or Left 4 Dead, even, like, people don't really care about those stories.
Right.
People care about the gameplay, right? So why not make more of those? Why not make one of those every 2-3 years?
Yeah.
I would do that. I would also go and poach game critics from different websites, well-known game critics, from IGNs and GameSpots and Jim Sterling's and things of that nature. And I would pay them to be a part of a committee that curates what we allow on Steam.
Right. Like
So that,
like clean it up a bit.
yeah, so that if this committee votes that your game is good enough to be on Steam, then it's on Steam. Do I think that kind of sucks? Yeah, because then a lot of games aren't going to be there. But Steam is full of such trash video games.
Yeah.
You know, there are so many bad games that nobody wants to play, nobody wants to pay for. Why have it there? It's just more shit that you have to sift through to find what's good. And like to Sinead's point, there are a lot of fantastic games that get buried under this pile of shit.
Right.
You know,
Because they have it, the way they have it set up now is like you give them $100 and then there's your game.
Pretty much.
What about having a system where if nobody has bought this game in like say 3 months, then it goes into a review process of if it's going to be on there?
I don't think that's fair.
Because of how deep it's probably buried under the other garbage
Yeah, there
games.
could be a fantastic game that just nobody sees
Yeah.
because you're digging through hundreds of trash games in the same genre to find it. You know.
Well, but within the system, there like if say like that is the case, it's getting buried. Then like say the system is like, hey, this game isn't doing anything. Respond to us within the month, like or whatever.
I mean, I don't think it's a terrible idea.
Yeah.
Like
but
having like what about like having some sort of
it's just a talk that needs to be had. You know, regardless of what happens.
just because like people's opinion, or critics' opinion, maybe. I don't know. I just don't think like having a bunch of critics necessarily judge other people's art, and like, are you good enough? I don't know. It rings a really wrong tone in me.
I
mean,
would
I
rather have that than what Steam is currently.
I can agree on like the fact that there's a lot of trash that needs to be cleaned up.
Right.
It just rings a really wrong. I mean, this is your Valve in your fantasy land, so obviously not that like my opinion necessarily matters, but I just, yeah,
doesn't,
it just
to be
really,
honest.
it really like strikes the wrong chord in me to like have like this kind of like naysayers.
I would also put
I just feel like having an automated system to kind of like help with the process of it I just feel like having some sort of.
I think there should be a committee. I mean, I do think that it should be a very wide range of people on that committee, but I do think that there needs to be, you know, there are these committees do exist for most platforms already, whether it's PSN or Xbox Live or whatever. They're there. They just kind of let whatever through. You know, you can release your game. If you don't want to release it on if Steam won't let you do it there, you can release it elsewhere, right? I could go put a game on itch.io today, right? And I don't make games, but I could do that. I could make a little simple program where you push a button and something happens and release it for sale. You know, PC is the most welcoming in that sense. I would also make some sort of prerequisite for you to post a review of a game, for a consumer to post a review of a game.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that like this whole framework requires either a complete abolishment or at least a rework of the whole Steam review system.
Well, the problem with Steam reviews, as I pointed out to you one night, as we're going through the Steam store as we often do, I'm showing you reviews of games where somebody says that this game is the best game in the world, and it shows that they've played thousands of hours of the game, literally thousands of hours of the game. We did the math, and it came out to like they played that game for like 2 years straight.
Yeah.
Right. And then the next review, the guy gives it a really fucking horrible review, and he played like 5 minutes of the game, and both of those carry the same weight on Steam reviews. And that's a problem. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like you could probably easily write like an algorithm. Where
You could, but they don't. And they haven't for years and years and years.
Like,
you know.
I just think that what you need there is, one, you need a minimum character limit, and also you need a minimum time invested limit.
Yeah.
Because we saw a review that was just the word garbage.
And we saw another review that was like a book.
Yeah.
Right.
And granted, like you said, like there's like nobody wants to read a fucking book in Steam reviews, right?
Sure.
But at the same time, like you play 5 minutes of a game and write a 1-word like review of the game.
And your review carries as much weight
so-
as this other guy
and-
who put 2 years of gameplay into that game.
But what about
you know?
if someone played like 5 hours of it? I feel like 5 hours into a game.
Which
like,
is
I'm
why
not
I said
probably
there
fa-
should be a prerequisite.
Yeah, so like a minimum time spent with
You
it,
know?
like so you have a good idea of what that game is. Like 5 hours, I feel like I would trust the opinion of someone who put 5 hours.
Even
into a game.
2 hours.
Yeah,
You know.
like I'm not gonna, but at the same time, to give the same to give the same credence to someone who's played the game for 5 minutes is absurd. And that is the problem. That system is
It's broken.
It's broken, and it's a large part of why good games get buried under garbage, because like the games with like the positive reviews get pushed up to the top, and the games with like there could be like an amazing game. It could be an amazing game, and this guy decided that it just like somebody could just decide that it just wasn't their thing. They play it
there's
for
plenty
10
of
minutes and then it just shit all over it.
Oh, yeah, there's plenty of people never played it, but it looks like garbage.
Right.
Yeah, no, there's plenty of people like that.
Well, and good on Steam for like making sure that you actually have played the game before you can review it. But like
It's not enough.
a minute of gameplay is not really having played the game.
Sure.
You know.
And I think that it's funny because like there are in a lot of ways I feel like,
And to be fair, PSN and Xbox Live have the same issue.
yeah.
You know, while you can't write reviews of
You
games,
can leave the
you can
star
still leave
rating.
the star rating
Yeah.
just from owning the game.
Yeah, and I will say that the star rating has either dissuaded or encouraged me to buy the game. And
Sure, why wouldn't it? You
right.
know? That's what it's there for.
And I feel very much like looking around on looking around on Steam it's my 2017 equivalent to what I was doing like 10 years ago, which was walking around the game store, just looking at cover art and deciding whether or not I want to buy a game based on that cover art. Except now it's kind of like there are, every time I pick up a game, a bunch of people in the store also chime in and tell me whether or not that game is garbage.
Sure. And don't get me wrong, I don't want to shit all over Valve or Steam. I think both are incredible and have done a lot of good for this industry. A tremendous amount of good for this industry. There's just things that should have been fixed a long time ago.
How do you what about in the comment section there being like drop down questions that you can answer particularly about the game?
That's not a bad idea.
Such as pros of the game,
Sure.
cons, or like difficulty, gameplay, and
Sure.
then
Like make it more of a survey thing.
It's not a
yeah.
bad idea.
Yeah.
like that way people have a direction to do their review in.
Yeah.
And maybe people who don't necessarily know how to even go about writing it or don't type
Sure.
very well,
But you
at
know-
least you can generally figure out what they're trying to get at.
But like I
Sure.
said, like at least Steam allows you to write a review.
Sure.
The others don't.
Yeah.
So that's something. But
That's something, but like I like Shanae's idea, especially considering the fact that like if you have somebody who just you don't know how to write a review, so I feel like making it so freeform.
yeah, no,
is
it's a good
bad
idea. I mean, it's certainly better than what they have now.
Yeah.
I mean, you could still like leave like a box at the end, like, oh hey, write whatever else you want. Because
Sure.
there's times where I'm like, there's been times where I have played like games on there and I want to leave a review because I was like, I want to let people know about this game because I know one of the things that I have a hard time on there. I get a lot of my Atomi games there. A good portion of my library on my current one is Atomi games. And yeah, like I just want to put like, oh yeah, the art's great, but obviously because you can make your decision on the art because they have like little videos and stuff beforehand.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, all right, so what do I want to do? I think what games would you compare this to instead of just basing it only on like an algorithm, like, oh, if you like this, you'll like this sort of thing.
Well, and Steam already does that. You know, like they already do. Like if you have this in your library and you click on a game's store page, you know, you might like this game because you own these already. You know.
Yeah, but I think like having like a thing where like on the comments or the reviews, like I feel like that would I feel like I would like a feature like that.
And I will say this about Steam, like comparing games that you already have to games that you might like, they are much better at that than PlayStation is.
Yeah.
PlayStation is like, oh, you bought Titanfall 2, well, you might like Injustice, you know, like shit like that. It's really weird.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I get shit like that from, oh, you bought Darkest Dungeon, you'll like the new Star Wars Battlefront game, and I'm like,
I'm not saying it's perfect, but it's better than PlayStation.
I'm not saying it's not better. I'm just saying they still have some things that they're like pushing. Obviously, I mean, of course.
But, I mean, I'm pretty sure it's all based off of tags. You know, so people probably just like labeled both of those RPG or whatever, you know.
Those tags also, like, I think I read somewhere, or maybe someone just told me, I could be wrong.
Who puts those tags there?
That
you do.
Who puts those tags?
Who put that there?
Who made you sad?
Like, I realized that it made me sound like I was mystified by the concept of putting tags. Yeah. No, I was just wondering if like curators did that, or like if the person who
users can, curators can as well.
Because I feel like, and anybody can correct me, like I said, educate this person or educate me if I'm wrong. Like that the fact, like if you and like, so me and Bird both have Darkest Dungeon and are like libraries and we're friends.
Yeah.
There's been games that's like, oh, you like Darkest Dungeon, you'll like this game, and I have seen that Birdo has bought it recently, and I brought it up to somebody, and they're like, oh, that's also how they base it off of stuff. Do you think that's a coincidence, or do you think that's part of the algorithm?
I'm sure that's probably part of it.
Yeah, and I feel like and then because like since then, there's been quite a few times where like random games are like suggested for me, and I'm like, I would never play this, and I'm like, who's playing this? And
I mean,
like,
Ryan sees me like on the homepage of Steam. Of the store, they have games that are up there specifically catered to your tastes. Yeah. You know, and Ryan sees me all the time. Mark shit, not interested. You know, because they're showing me stuff that I have no interest in.
Yeah, I mean, I do
but
too.
They think I do for one reason or another. But
so and.
But you never answered, Ryan. What would you do if?
That's a good show.
If Gabe.
Mark Summer.
That was a good show.
What would you do? If you're someone
What? Na.
If I weren't crying at home.
Oh no! I said, what would you do? No, I was just saying the lyrics to a song.
Oh. Shit, man. Like, look.
What would you do if you were in charge of Valve?
Like, I
at
feel
this moment.
I feel like, you know, in the conversation that Tom and I had last night, I feel very much like he and I are of one mind with this thing. Like
There was a lot of nodding in agreement last night.
Yeah, like a lot of us.
To be fair, we had been drinking though.
Yeah, a lot of us sitting there like rubbing our chins, like because it just, I feel like it makes sense, right? Be like, because I'm trying, the thing that I constantly struggle with when I think about Valve, and I think about when I think about the franchises that they've built, is why did you stop? I cannot conceive of a world where people don't buy Team Fortress 3, or where people don't buy Left 4 Dead 3. And I can't conceive of a world where if you just stealth released Half-Life 3, people aren't going to buy that. They're going to buy it. So like,
dude, you know how you make Game of the Year and make more money than any fucking developer publisher?
Yeah.
Orange Box 2.
Fuck yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Orange Box 2.
Or call it whatever, the Purple Box, you know.
Whatever.
3 new Valve games that that's how you do it.
Yeah. And why not? Like, and to Tom's point last night, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. No, go ahead.
Well, to Tom's point last night, it's that like, there are people who work there who know more about this business than we do. I do not I don't disagree with that. But at the same time, I'm having trouble finding any kind of logic and somebody saying, hey, you know what, we should make Left 4 Dead 3. And then somebody be like, nah, we're not going to do that.
My point last night was that, like, everything that we've talked about,
Somebody's had that
they
conversation.
have had that conversation
But, like,
already,
I'm wondering
you know?
why that conversation didn't result in, let's pull the trigger on that.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Do you think y'all are more knowledgeable about a lot of these things than I am? And of course, there's people about
Don't
that
sell
more
yourself
knowledgeable.
short.
No. Well, I'd say like I have a pretty shitty memory, so like y'all remember like interviews and things like that better and people's names. I mean, I feel like there's only a finite amount of things in a company that you can focus on and do well, and with a goal, and it all like move forward and actually get along with, especially with an organization as big as Valve is.
Sure.
And I feel like they definitely have put their focus on Steam, on Dota, and moving forward. If you're going to try and do that, I would assume that some of the naysay of like on pulling the trigger is A, quality of the product. Is it going to be as good as past ones were? Because a lot of people, in my memory and what I was reading in magazines when Left 4 Dead 2, like everyone loved it, but a lot of people were saying that Left 4 Dead 1 was better or like whatever. But I mean, of course, you're not gonna make everybody happy, and there's always gonna be naysayers.
And that's always going to happen with every sequel.
Well, and Left 4 Dead 2 is everything from Left 4 Dead 1. Like,
Just-
literally
Yeah.
is included there.
my whole thing.
People are still gonna hate. So yeah, I guess like resources and focus being somewhere different.
Yeah, but
I think
it's not. I mean, no, of course I am aware they're trying to make money.
Sure.
I am aware that
Sure.
that is a goal. I'm
Right.
not like saying
that's the ultimate goal.
I'm not saying this is
the
a
best
fantasy
goal.
world, but
It shouldn't be the ultimate goal, but for them, it obviously is.
it has to be.
That's
Their
why.
business.
That's why you see them sticking to what has become very popular over the past few years amongst the industry-wide games as a service. Right? We see things like Destiny and The Division and Hearthstone and anything that's a huge game. PUBG. It's games as a service.
But see,
What cosmetics can I sell you? What loot crates will you buy?
Here's-
this is why Counter-Strike is at the forefront and Dota is at the forefront.
if it's just
and,
if it's just about money, then they would just put out Left 4 Dead
Right,
3
now-
or Halo 3.
now
If
you-
it was-
No,
if it was-
because their time into those loot boxes and those cosmetic items cost much less and brings much more of a return. You know.
Now, if we're talking, if a concern is maintaining the quality of the product, like Valve has the money to build a team dedicated to that thing, and it would be a low risk investment for them.
What I'm getting at is like the time it would take. Let's Left 4 Dead 3 is a good example because it would cost less to make that game than it would to make Half-Life 3 or
Sure.
Portal 3.
Sure.
Left 4 Dead 3 would be cheaper, right?
They could
If
add like a cosmetic.
The cost to make Left 4 Dead 3 versus the cost to make some more skins for Counter-Strike. This costs way more money, and those Counter-Strike skins are going to make way more money.
And they're guaranteed to sell.
Yeah.
They can make Left 4 Dead 3 and make it where you could buy skins
And they
for
would.
that.
At this point, they would, right? We see it with Killing Floor. But the fact of the matter is they don't need to. They've got Counter-Strike now. It's still huge. You know, they've got Dota now, still huge, and now we're about to have Dota the Gathering.
So that
it's
see that's what I feel like sets Valve apart from other developers in that as any other developers like take any other developer, right? They need to have another game out in a reasonable amount of time because they need to continue generating revenue. That is their revenue stream. Whereas with Valve, they have the luxury of not doing that if they don't want to.
in 2017, games as a service is a publisher's wet dream. That's why you see games like Shadow of War coming out. Shadow of War, a single-player game, has paid loot boxes now. You know? Destiny 2, it's super hyped. PUBG, super hyped. Games as a service, if you can get that and you can make a successful one, you're set. That's what they want. That's what they all want.
Street Fighter 5 games as a service?
No.
Okay.
No, not at all. It's exactly what they said it would be. There's no new additions.
Okay.
You are paying for the additional content instead of buying the ultra or super or hyper version, right? But
Killer Instinct games as a service?
No, right? I mean, there's no like loot boxes or anything, right? You're paying for characters.
Injustice 2, games as a service.
I don't know. You know more about Injustice 2 than I do. I have my assumptions about Injustice 2, but
I don't think you can
This
buy
is-
any of those loot boxes.
This
Yeah.
is just a general question, just because I'm curious. We've talked in the past about how some of the reasons that some of the gaming studios have been closed is because the game's finished. Like, we're not doing really a lot for it now, or we don't need as many people because we're just doing DLCs and we can like close different studios and give it to other ones. Does Valve really do that a lot, or do they have like their teams they get rid of a lot? Or
I don't know. I feel like they got teams for like different games, right? They got their Dota team. I don't even know.
I mean, I know there's Valve South.
there are
And
teams
I
of
know-
Valve that are spread across multiple projects, right? We talked about this last week with our trivia. A lot of the Portal people also worked on Left 4 Dead.
Yeah.
But I'm sure they do have different teams, or at least there's like a Venn diagram, right? Like there are probably people that are part of both teams, but not both teams being exactly the same, carbon copy. But even smaller developers like Naughty Dog at one point had multiple teams.
Is there a team that just makes Dota and Team Fortress hats?
I'm sure there probably is, dude.
Yeah.
There is somebody whose job it is to make skins and hats and things of that nature.
Oh yeah.
You know,
And like, I mean, that's the funny thing too is
and it
that,
probably
like,
pays very well.
Like people laugh at the prospect of hats in Dota and Team Fortress, but man, those things fucking sell.
They do. Well, you and I talked about it last night. I'm a sucker for fighting game DLC. I will buy every costume, every color, every stage, even if it's a character I don't play.
So to go
Yeah, I've bought collector's editions, and I've bought random shit, and I've done random shit to get little collectibles in WoW.
Yeah.
That I will probably never look at again.
Steam's
ever.
Steam's trading cards. I've been eating that shit up.
Yeah.
And for
Oh,
what?
I don't give a shit about that.
For wallpapers on my profile that none of my friends have probably ever looked at.
Sure.
You know?
Now
I look at them every now and then.
to go back to the question, like, I mean, I think Tom and I would run Valve in very much the same way. Like
With an iron fucking fist.
not an iron fist, but I would
Oh.
definitely,
Oh.
I would definitely be about that money, and I would definitely want to. I would definitely say, you know,
I think you can be about the money and be about being creative,
Sure,
and
I would
inventive at the same time.
and you can foster that creativity. I've got the money, I've got the resources. In fact, I've got so much money that I can add to my existing resources by taking someone else's resources.
But here's the weird thing: like, unless something incredibly dumb happens with Valve, a legal situation or unexpected bankruptcy by some weird circumstance, Valve will outlive Xbox or PlayStation.
Sure. Now, you said last night that in order for Valve to have any kind of meaningful change at this point, Gabe Newell either needs to die or retire.
I mean, he is definitely. Don't get me wrong. I'm sure a lot of the decisions are committee based.
Sure.
But he definitely calls
Like
the shots.
he's driving the ship.
Yeah.
What about-
Last week,
what about Scott Lynch?
last week's decision to limit keys to developers, I guarantee you he pulled the trigger on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know who Scott Lynch is, Tom?
I do not know.
The CEO of Valve.
What about him?
Oh, I was asking.
Well, like the COO, like he's got like this. He's got like, you know, he's got weight, but
Like I said, I'm sure a lot of decisions are committee based. They must be.
I feel like, you know, it's all going to, like, I feel like Gabe has a definite vision of what he wants that company to be. Like
From a creative standpoint, what we're talking about with like third entries into these series, I think he pulls more weight than the COO or whoever.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, I know not like comparing. Not comparing. I'm just saying like.
I think that Half-Life 2 Episode 3 or Half-Life 3 does not exist because of him. And we see that from interviews over the past decade.
He used
You
to
know?
be the senior vice president of Vivendi Universal Games. There's that for him being like labeled
And that
as
hostile takeover
Yeah,
coming in.
That's a talk for another week, because I would like to talk about that, but I don't know, man. Valve has always been. It's not always, but
Valve is great. Like all this shit, I love Valve.
Yeah.
And I love their
Like
games.
I've been given, like, to be honest, I've been given no reason to dislike Valve.
Yeah.
I mean, are there things that I wish they would do or wish that they would do differently? Yeah, of course, but
Sure, but you know what? There's things I wish Nintendo would do differently.
Yeah.
More so than Valve.
Yeah.
But I love them.
yeah.
Always have, always will.
You
know.
I just think like, again, they are, as far as developers go, they are quite the anomaly. You know, like you don't often hear a lot of developers who are mentioned in like the same kind of category as Valve, because nobody has really branched out the way that they have.
I mean, as far as like monopolizing the PC game sales,
Sure.
nobody's really done that. But like, we talk about developers and publishers that can get away with certain things.
Yeah.
Releasing a game without ever advertising it, things of that nature. Like, there are very few companies that could do it. Rockstar's one of them.
Yeah.
Valve's another. Blizzard's another. But like, those companies are very few and far between.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Square Enix.
No.
No, they
No.
couldn't. They couldn't. If they could do that, they wouldn't have blown all that money on Final Fantasy.
If it was, if it was something like Final Fantasy, sure, but you don't work on something for 10 years and have nothing leak.
Yeah.
But if it's something, if it's like their bread and butter, right? The Tomb Raiders, the Hitmans, whatever, like they can't do that.
Yeah. Although,
Don't get me wrong, if a Tomb Raider game just came out, people would buy it.
Sure.
But it would not behoove them to do that.
yeah. Yeah, like I said before, like,
Bethesda's probably getting there,
Did
as
you
far as Fallout and Elder Scrolls go, they're probably getting there.
did you see the rumor that Bethesda's doing a Game of Thrones games? Game of Thrones game.
I did not know. So it's just going to be like Skyrim mod.
Yeah, they
why
there was
not?
like a
Yeah.
there was like a rumor a while back that they were working on it, but they like declined it to do Skyrim. And then recently there's been more talks of it like actually happening, and then because there's a rumor before about it and they declined it, there's now like a lot of people are just like speculating that's gonna happen now.
That George Railroad Martin.
like, hand over fist, that guy, man, with all his fucking licensing and his, man. Like, I feel like George R.R. Martin. I feel like by now he's got Gabe Newell money.
Nah, no
No,
way.
dude, like with fucking HBO paying you like for like one of their biggest shows
Here's the thing
ever.
that people don't realize: cable shows, and especially like cable packaged shows like HBO or Showtime or whatever.
Yeah.
So those make less money than like regular cable shows, like on Comedy Central or Cartoon Network,
'Cause they don't have
which make
advertisers.
less money than network television, like Fox, things of that nature.
Because they don't have advertisers.
What I'm saying is like,
I don't know. I'm speculating because I don't know.
what I'm saying is primetime network television.
Yeah.
Your Dancing with the Stars, whatever,
Yeah.
makes way more money than Game of Thrones.
Huh.
Yeah, because
Where do they make all their money from?
The fact that everybody sees it for free, and they have advertisers.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, I'm talking about HBO and the Game of Thrones.
I don't know. That's
so
a
you
good question.
wanted so
People paying for cable.
I just looked up both of their net worths.
Who? George Martin and Gabe Newell.
Mm-hmm.
He's got Gabe Newell has more money than Oprah.
Yeah, they got Oprah money.
Do you wanna guess at all what either of them are net worth and see how
No,
close
it'll
you are?
sicken me.
I know All I know is that Gabe Newell has more money than Oprah. That's all I know.
Gabe Newell's 5.5 billion,
Christ.
and George R.R. Martin 65 million.
Oh, that dude's a
No
peasant.
comparison.
Dude is a peasant
I was like,
compared to Gabe
dude.
Newell.
I was like, dude, like not even close. Though George R.R. Martin,
He's cleaning Gabe Newell's windshield.
Yeah.
George R.R. Martin does have a pretty nice movie theater in Santa Fe.
Who cares, man?
Yeah.
And
I want that $5.5 billion.
George Martin has a nice theater in Santa Fe.
Yeah.
Gabe Newell probably owns Santa Fe.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the hierarchy there.
Oh yeah, I just want to put out there. George R.R. Martin has a nice theater. I think it was either Albuquerque or Santa Fe that it was in. I know I visited it, and I went to both the cities like within a couple days of each other.
I just
And his name is Raymond Richard.
Could you imagine the power couple that would be Gabe Newell and Oprah Winfrey?
dude, unstoppable. Like, but I feel like Oprah would What do you think? What do you think Oprah's influence on the Valve product would be, though?
I honestly think it could be good.
Yeah.
She's a very smart woman. I think
Yeah.
it could be good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was Santa Fe.
I bet sales would be more frequent.
I mean, you'd be part of the Oprah book club for sure.
Oh yeah, did you get the fucking Oprah Steam sales?
Oh yeah, those would be cool, man.
Christ.
Like Oprah.
Could you imagine?
Oprah's Game Club?
You get Half-Life 2.
Yep.
And you get Half-Life 2.
Yep. Like yeah, she'd be giving out.
Everybody gets Half-Life 2.
Oh yeah, that's what it would be. It's
Yeah.
like every, I don't want to say month, but like at least twice a year, she'd just give you a game.
Yeah, for sure.
Just give you a game.
There would be,
And it would be a top dollar game
Yeah.
too.
and there
Yeah.
would be,
You
there
know?
would be an Oprah game.
It wouldn't be
Weird-
shower with your dad. It'd be like Prey. I'm giving you Prey this time, you
Yeah.
know, or whatever.
Oh,
Yeah.
So-
there'd be an Oprah game where she's just the nicest lady ever in it, and it's like Gabe's love letter to her.
That
Yeah,
actually,
it's an Oprah
That actually
game,
be
and
really
every
cute.
time you press spacebar, she gives you a new Steam key.
so that actually okay. So as of right now, Steam doesn't have a model like XBL Gold or PSN Plus.
PC doesn't have that model.
Right. So I feel like if Oprah had a stake or like had some kind of say in how Valve was run, like every month you'd get a game or two.
Oh yeah.
And with Oprah
Without having to subscribe to
being, with
anything.
Oprah being Oprah, it would be like you said, it'd be like a AAA game. It'd be a Prey or something like something of that echelon. And the
so-
game would have come out like within the past year or so.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So, Oprah product.
Okay.
It's gonna be like
No, dude, it'd be new games launching. She'd be doing what PSN did for Rocket League every month.
Oh,
You know?
yeah.
Yeah.
Also,
Man, Gabe needs to marry Oprah.
there
Maybe the thumbnail will be a picture of the two of them, like in a heart.
Yeah.
there could also be like Alexa or Siri, like just like but it's like Oprah.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Oprah, boot
With
up,
that voice?
boot up PUBG, and like PUBG
got an empowering
starts
voice.
She
playing.
does.
Yeah.
Oh, I would love that.
I feel like
I just want to talk to her.
we just thought of better Steam.
Yeah.
If I was in charge of Steam, I'd marry Oprah and make all of that.
See, it's like that's a strategic marriage. That's what that is. I don't know, man.
I'd
Like
treat her nicely. I'd give her compliments.
I just think that would be so cool. And I also think that scenario would play out only with Oprah there. Now, that's not to say though. Now, what would happen? What would happen if Steam at some point, Oprah notwithstanding, they released some kind of thing that's like Steam Plus or Steam Premium or something?
I don't think it works as well. On console, you're paying for the ability to play online.
Sure.
You already have that on PC across the board. If they really,
It'd be kind of like Amazon Prime.
I think the most successful thing that you're going to see is like what Humble does, right? There's Humble bundles all the time, which are a fantastic value, but there's also Humble Monthly that you could subscribe to get fantastic games for dirt cheap.
Yeah.
You know, and you're benefiting charity, which neither PSN or Xbox Live is doing.
Yeah. I just feel like when I think of like a premium Steam model, I think Amazon Prime, and all that entails. Although the perk with Amazon Prime is like free fast shipping and
Yeah, people bring your groceries to you.
yeah, that's pretty sweet.
Steam's not bringing my groceries.
They won't, but they could.
Also, like movies and TV shows are available on Amazon.
Movies and TV shows are available on Steam as well. People just don't think about
Tom
it.
and I watched Mortal Kombat Legacy, both seasons on Steam a few weeks ago.
Well, I'm just saying, like, there's Prime TV shows
remember
that
that
are
one?
free if you have Prime, if you like have a paid
I
service.
know that, and you could do that if there was a Steam paid service.
Don't you lift your mic at me?
Is Steam is not fine as it is. Steam, while a great outlet for purchasing your games and
Would you say
watching
Steam
them
is bad right now?
bad? No, I would not say.
You
Steam
said
is
it's
bad.
not fine.
It's not fine.
It's not fine because they have some changes that I think that they
Here's
should
the thing.
make.
Literally all of these outlets, Xbox Live, Nintendo's bullshit, PSN, Steam, Origin, Battle.net, all of them could do a lot better. But again,
Do you hear that? We're expecting more from
but
you.
again, all of them are fine.
No, see, that's the thing, that they could be doing better, but they don't, because people. I don't know that people do expect more from them. I think.
Well, no, we expect more from them.
Yeah.
We.
I want more from them.
Yeah, but yeah, and I think that there are a lot of people who do want more from them. I think it's safe to say that, but that expectation is probably not going to be there, because realistically, like, why would they change?
Steam has remained largely the same for many years now.
Yeah.
Where at least the other guys, while I don't think they are as good as Steam, are iterating here and there.
And it's kind of like, because I feel like
At least they're trying.
it very much has the "if it ain't broke, don't fix it"
Yeah.
sort of mentality.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, it has its drawbacks though, right? Because like Shanae pointed out, like,
You know what you can do on Steam, though? You can change your name. Help me
Boom.
out, PlayStation.
yeah, look, Steam's doing it, Xbox is doing it.
Xbox charges you for it. I'd be okay with that. I'll pay for it.
Yeah.
Let me change it.
Yeah, I've had the same. Shanae, let me tell you something. I've had the same PSN name since 2007. Okay, I want a new one.
Mine no longer pertains to me at all.
You know,
Because it was occupational based. And
yeah,
now,
you don't work there anymore.
Yeah.
Well, here's what you need to do.
Okay.
Do one that's almost offensive and just keep it until someone does get
I
offensive.
feel like that's the only way to do it.
because,
Yeah, and then you lose your fucking trophy level.
Yeah.
no, you don't.
Yeah, you would.
No,
Oh, yes, you would.
It happened to my roommate because he was big wiener.
They do not let you just change your name. They make you get a new account.
No, they told him he had to change his name.
You are incorrect.
We should ask Big.
This is fact.
Let's
This
ask-
is fact, Janae.
I will
Let's
call
ask Big
Harvey
Wienar
right now.
Let's ask Big Wienar himself.
They told him he had to change his name. I will call him right now on the show.
They did not just let him change it, though.
They told
There
him
had-
that-
there-
they told me he had to. They sent him an email. He clicked on the email. He changed his name to something else. That had to be approved until he could use his account
When
again.
was this?
And then this was pretty shortly, so about a year ago.
This does not happen. You might have got your story mixed up or something like that.
No,
but
he tried to.
like this is a very well-known PSN fact. This is extremely well-known.
It wasn't
I've never
banned.
experienced it, so I don't know. But Big Wienar is somebody who has lived through it, so maybe he knows more than we do. But I don't know. But at the same time, like,
Look, as the resident PlayStation dick sucker, I'll let you know that this is fact. This is well-known knowledge. This has been publicized on many, many outlets. People know this is fact.
you do like PlayStation a lot.
Yeah.
I think it's funny that you refer to yourself as a PlayStation dick sucker. I don't know. I think Steam is doing a lot of things right, but they're also doing some things not right.
Sure. I mean, that could be said for everybody.
Sure.
But
I mean, it's, nobody's perfect, but I mean, there are some things that, because like Shanae was talking about, like cultivating an ecosystem where like the indie guy who might have just made an amazing game can get his shit seen without having to like trudge through like the mountain of bullshit that is like all
no,
the shit
I mean,
that's there.
I agree with Sinead in that all of these ecosystems, whether it's PlayStation, Steam, Xbox, whatever, should be more welcoming to a lot of these guys. There are a lot of hurdles to getting your game on PSN. A lot of hurdles.
Yeah.
And it's good that Steam is not as strict in that sense, right? But I do think that there should be a look at quality,
Yeah. So,
Because from what Sinead's saying, like there are so many good indie games that would not be known, that are fantastic games that just have trouble getting on these platforms, and she's right about that, But like a lot of those indie games are not good games. Nobody would consider them good games.
what's that mayonnaise game?
My name is Mayo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that on Steam?
It actually is overwhelmingly positive on Steam
Why?
because you're buying achievements.
Oh.
Yeah. Same thing on PSN. I bought it. I platinumed it.
Would you say that you had an overwhelmingly positive experience with that game?
I knew what I was getting, and I felt dirty doing it, but I did it.
You did it.
I did it. Yeah.
So it goes. I think that will end cap this week's conversation.
So as the can I finisher, would you
Guys, I got a good one this week.
what do you want to talk about this week?
Oh man, let's hear it, man. Let's hear it.
Do you guys know who Mike Boyd is?
I don't. Who is that?
That sounds vaguely familiar.
It does not.
So I just came across this on YouTube this week, and like that night, watched every video he's published.
Okay.
2 years ago, Mike Boyd put out a video on YouTube called "Learn to Kickflip in 5 hours and 47 minutes."
Okay.
So he is a man who does not skateboard.
Okay.
But he's like, he has this quote, I forget how it goes, but it's like, it's basically how you can learn something in a short period of time if you cut out all the bullshit and commit to it.
Right.
Right? So he buys like this cheap, shitty skateboard and just tries over and over and over again. And, you know, he goes to sleep and wakes up the next day and tries again and eventually lands it. And it's not, can I do it once? It's can I actually learn it?
Yeah.
To where I'm consistently getting this down.
Just do it whenever I want.
So that video went viral, and he started a whole channel on it. So he's got learn to unicycle, learn to juggle,
So it's just him teaching
learn
himself how to
pull
do
trick shots, learn to pick a lock, learn to do the tablecloth trick,
Learn to spin a basketball.
Yeah, all this awesome shit.
He's just teaching himself how to do these things.
Yeah.
He's just teaching himself how to do these things, and it's so inspirational. Like, it's just like, if you want to know how to do something, just put the fucking time in and you can do it. And it's fucking awesome.
That's really
And you
cool.
get a good feeling watching his videos.
Yeah.
And I just love the guy. I love him.
Yeah, Mike Boyd. I'm gonna watch that because you know that makes me think, man. There are all those times, like, look, fighting games.
He made his wife's engagement ring. Made it. Wow. Didn't know a thing about making jewelry. He made it. Yeah.
That guy, man, that guy is pretty cool. Like, look,
That's how my old roommate was, Harvey, the one who got his account suspended.
Big Wiener.
And, while they made him change his name and approve it.
What was his name again?
Big Wiener.
Okay.
And yeah, no, it was really fun. It was really fun living with him because he would just be like, "Oh, I want to learn how to do this," and then I'd come home from work and he's just like, "Yeah, I learned how to do it. This is my first attempt," and like it would be fucking awesome.
What was it? Bologna sandwiches.
Making bad PSN names.
Like make a standing desk, make
cool.
like floating shelves.
But I like Mike because like he actually learns it. It's not can I do it once. It's can I actually learn to do this thing consistently.
Sure.
You know, and he gives a lot to charity, and he seems like a really
Just a good guy.
genuinely good person who wants to show people that if you want to learn something, you can do it.
Like anybody can learn anything, man. That's fighting games, man.
Yeah.
Like here's the thing, is I look at like I was talking to you last night about injustice, right?
Yeah.
I look at these input strings.
Yeah.
Just like
See, but his whole thing is like,
My
you
mind
say,
can't
oh,
do
I've been
it.
trying to learn this for 3 months.
Yeah.
But like really, if you
Have
take the
you been-
actual time,
have you been trying?
the actual time you put into it, it's probably more like 4 hours.
Right.
You know, and it's really
Like
neat.
if I actually put the time in,
Yeah.
I could do it.
Watch Mike Boyd on YouTube. He's got 2 channels. You really only need to watch the main one. And like I don't know. I watched them all back to back as soon as I found his channel.
Yeah, right on. Take us out, Tom.
Goodbye.
Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.
Oh yeah. Oh, by the way, before we go, check us out on YouTube because I feel like nobody knows that we're on YouTube. Check us out on YouTube though.
Yeah.
We're on the tube.
Yeah. Okay. Bye.
Bye.